The last sleep, a galaxy's reckoning through the galaxy. Every species knew the whispered warnings passed down through generations. No one had ever seen them. No one truly knew what they looked like. They didn't even have a name anymore, just a simple warning that echoed across the stars. Don't wake the humans for 100,000 years. This was enough. Children heard bedtime stories about what might happen if someone stumbled into their territory. But no one knew where that territory was. It wasn't mapped or claimed. It simply existed in the darkness between stars. Waiting. Commander Thorin was different. He was a Kari war tactician known for breaking rules and winning impossible battles. He didn't believe in old stories or ancient warnings. He believed in data and victory. When a strange signal burst through 3-star systems, repeating one word in a dead language, awaken, the council ignored it, but Thorin couldn't let it go. The signal felt human somehow. It had a rhythm like a heartbeat that echoed in his bones. Against direct orders, he took his massive fleet beyond the last map sector, into the void they called Sector 0. It was dead space with no stars, no light, and no reason to exist. When they arrived, they found something impossible. Not a planet, but a construct made of metal, stone, and what looked like flesh. It stretched for miles, breathing and beating like a living thing. Massive structures covered its surface, too damaged to identify, but clearly the work of an advanced civilization. Buried alive and left witching, Thorin ordered a landing despite his crew's fear. Some refused outright. One captain tried to trigger the ship's self-destruct, so Thorin shot him. They landed anyway, and that's when the real horror began. The place was waiting, silent but expectant. As they explored deeper, they found murals, carved into walls showing creatures unlike anything they'd seen before. Tall, lean beings with empty eye sockets and bodies designed for war and endurance. One mural showed thousands of alien races kneeling. Another showed burning skies. The last one showed humans being put to sleep, not defeated or killed, just locked away. The translation team could only decode a few words burned into the stone in blood-colored ink. If they wake, the galaxy ends. They found the chamber a day later, buried beneath layers of neutronium and compressed singularities, a lock no modern species could build. It hummed with energy and pulsed like a living thing. A single console waited with one glowing red button and one word blinking in every known language. Open. Thorin didn't hesitate. He pressed it. The vault opened like a dying star, slow and grinding, shrieking across every frequency. The crew fell to their knees as existential pressure hit them, not gravity, but something deeper. As if the universe itself paused to watch what came next. Inside the chamber lay a body on a slab of black glass. Human, unmistakably so. Pale skin. Covered muscles denser than steel. Ancient technology was fused into his spine and limbs, not armor, but evolution itself. His eyes were closed, but he was breathing deep and calm, like a weapon waiting for a target. When Thorin touched the slab, the man opened his eyes. They weren't dramatic, just black holes in the shape of sight. Then came the whisper, not through any device, but inside every brain in the room. Which one of you did it? The crew collapsed, bleeding from their ears. Some convulsed while others screamed and clawed at their faces, overwhelmed by shame that didn't belong to them. Thorin barely held his ground as the human sat up casually, as if it were his room. The human stood 7 feet tall, with muscles like coiled metal and skin marked with ancient symbols. I am the last lock, he said in a voice sharp enough to cut. Silence. When Thorin raised his weapon, the human looked at it like a child's toy and calmly walked to where the chamber wall had been. Except now everything was gone. The construct had begun opening layer by layer, revealing more chambers, more slabs, more humans. Thousands of them, all asleep, all breathing, all waiting. You fools. The first human whispered in pity, inside Thorin's head. The voice returned. They feared us not for what we did, but for what we were willing to do. They begged us to stop. When we didn't, they buried us. Double quotes when Thorin forced out the word why. The human turned, and for a moment there was grief in those black eyes. Because we don't lose. Then the signal went out. Not a transmission, but something primal, like reality itself screaming. Every ship, every species across the galaxy felt it. For the first time in 100,000 years, they remembered what humans really were. They weren't warriors or conquerors. They were consequences, the universe's response to being controlled too tightly, creating something it couldn't contain. Panic spread like a virus. On distant worlds, rulers detonated their own suns rather than face what was coming. Ancient ceasefires shattered not from politics but from pure terror. Because the humans were awake and the galaxy remembered what it had cost to put them to sleep before. Back in the chamber, more humans were awakening. A woman opened her mouth. and sang, not melody, but pure vibration. Outside, ships began failing as gravity reversed and space itself warped in rhythm with their breathing. Thorin smiled as blood dripped from his nose. Beautiful, he whispered. Then his heart simply stopped, not from violence, just turned off. The first human looked down at him as he died, and for 1 second his eyes weren't black, but human blue. Sad and full of terrible history, the awakening spread. Ancient councils gathered in emergency sessions, sending massive fleets to burn Sector Zero to ash before the humans could regain their numbers. But the humans didn't fight back with weapons. They existed, and existence itself became unbearable. For everything around them, ships disintegrated without shots being fired. Entire fleets vanished into silence. The humans walked through space unprotected, bending physics to their will while empires crumbled from the inside out.